Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to this next guitar lesson. Thank you for coming back to check out the lesson. What we're going to be taking a look at this week is a couple of really nice blues kind of slash gospel guitar licks that I really enjoy. They're going to be basically double stop, kind of chromatic licks, and I really enjoy the sound of them. They sound great and they're really usable. And this is just going to be, basically we're just going to be taking a look at just kind of an easy blues in G sort of sound. So yeah, these are just, again, couple really nice sounding, very usable licks. And so yeah, let's get into the lesson. Alright guys, so again we're just taking a basic blues in G. So that kind of thing. And basically the first lick is just a sixes idea. You've probably played it before. If we had like a blues in E, it'd be this sort of thing. So that sort of sound right there, pretty simple. I'm sure you guys have played that lick before, but I'm going to kind of break it down just a little bit and show you guys a couple different ways to play that. And we're actually going to move that into the key of G, and it's not going to have any open strings, so it's going to be transposable too. So here's the lick. I'm actually going to play this on the D and in the B string. Okay, and I'm thinking of this very intervallically, so I'm always thinking of where I'm starting so I can transpose it. So for right here, thinking of the lowest note in this little double stop right here, these two notes together. Now the lowest note is the fifth of the chord. Okay, so the note I'm playing on the D string is the fifth of the G chord, okay? So here's this little shape first of all, and I'll talk more about that in a second. So the middle finger is at the 12th fret of the D, ring finger 12th fret of the B. Okay, so there's the first shape, and I'm picking, then hybrid picking the highest note in the chord. So we get the fifth and then the third of the chord on top. Okay, then we move that down a fret, move it down another fret. Okay, then we move it down to another shape. Now this shape is basically 9 of the D with the middle, 8 of the B with the pointer. Now that's the shape we're going to use. We can go down with that shape. We can go up with that shape. Okay, so we can go either direction with that. And it sounds great going either way. And we could pick it the old classic kind of, blues ending way where we go. So we're going pick. I'm sliding into that D note, by the way. Pick, hybrid, pick, hybrid, pick, hybrid. So slow. I should mention one more quick thing you can do with that little idea right there is when we get to the final shape right here, where it's the third and then the root on top, we can do a little bar with the pointer finger across a D, G, and B at the 8th fret and hammer on that middle finger to the third. So that's giving us our minor third to major, which is really popular in the blues. You hear that all the time. So yeah, then you'll get this sort of idea, which sounds really cool. So again, you can take that up. Okay. So either way, what you're doing is you're starting from the 5th of the chord or the 3rd of the chord. Those are kind of like my target notes that I'm looking for when I switch chords. And you can skip some of the tones in there. You could just go if you wanted. Do that, that's totally cool. Okay, now let's say we're going to the 4 chord. Well now, and I'm always targeting the lowest note in the chord. That's kind of my target note when I'm looking to move this riff to another chord. Okay, so let's say I'm going to the C chord, the C major chord, okay, or the C7 in this case. So now I'm going to be targeting the 5th, finding the 5th, which is going to be G. So the 5th of C is G. So now I'm going to target a G note and play that same exact little pattern of notes. Again, I could slide in. There is that third idea, hammering on from the minor third to the major third. Or I could go up. Then back to the G, doing the same exact little pattern once again. Now let's say I'm going to the D chord, the 5 chord. Okay, now I'm going to target the 5th, find the 5th of D on the D string. The 5th of D is A. Again, you'll need to know a little theory, a couple of your numbers, what the 5th of the chords are, the 3rd of chords to find these. So the 5th of the D chord is A, so I find an A chord, or excuse me, an A note on the D string and just play that exact same pattern from the A note. Or I could start from the third and go up, so then I'm targeting the third. Okay, and then we've got that. So let's say starting from the 1 chord again. Okay. Okay, so there's that, starting from the 1 to the 4, back to the 1. Okay, so just kind of, you know, playing that again. If we're starting low and going up, we're targeting the third. If we're starting high and going down, we're targeting the 5th. So again, and you can play that however you want. You could play it like that either. So again, you can play it either way. You could play it like this. Okay, or that might be a little too final sounding. So you could just play it just like that. Either or is totally cool. So yeah, that's kind of the first little lick there. Again, you could maybe skip some tones in between there. So right here, I'm skipping this one and just going up to the 5th and the 3rd. And it still sounds cool. Okay, let's just say we're just going to go to the 5 chord. Again, we could do that little minor to major 3rd hammer on. So those all sound pretty neat, and yeah, just good sounding, just a good sounding little lick. So now let's move on to the second lick. Okay guys, so the second lick is actually really similar to the first one, but for this one, instead of a 6th, we get a 3rd, so the interval of a 3rd. So here's what this shape is going to look like. We're just going to play this on the D and G strings for right now. Okay, so we're going to have basically 9 of the D, 7 of the G. There's our first shape, and we're just going to take it down chromatically. 1 fret down, 1 fret down, then we end up at 5 of the D and 4 of the G. Which it still sounds really similar to the last lick, but it's just a little change up. Okay, so your target note for this is going to be the 3rd of whatever chord you're on. So right here, the 3rd of G is B. And when we get to the final position here, we can do that little minor 3rd to major 3rd, where we just put the pointer finger 1 fret below the middle and hammer on. It sounds really cool. So let's say we wanted C. Well, I target the 3rd of C, which is E. So I go all the way up here. Okay, and then back to G. You can see I'm sliding into that first shape. Okay, and you could also start low and go high with it. Okay, so that's totally cool as well. Okay, so you can see right there again, just starting low. When I start low and go up with it, I'm targeting the root as my lowest note. So right here I'm targeting G. Right here I'm targeting C. Okay, now if I start high and go low with it, I can also put my middle finger 1 fret below my ring and hammer on from that minor to major 3rd. Sounds great, and I could link these together too, so I could start with the first shape and kind of move into that one. Okay, so you can hear how nicely this transitions too. Let's say we're going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. I'm going to start low and go high. Okay, now I'm just basically right next door to the 4 chord. Just right there. Okay, which is really cool. And then when I'm up here, this kind of sets me up perfectly for the first lick we had taken a look at to go back into G. So, really slow. And I'm back into G. So you can see how we can kind of link all these together and get some really great sounds. Now let's say I'm going to the 5 chord. Okay, there's our 5 chord. right there. Now this puts me in perfect position for the 4 chord, the first lick again. Okay, now my 1 chord right here. Okay, so pretty cool stuff. You can obviously see how many different options we get with just those 2 licks. So experiment with them. You know, experiment going from one to the next. Like even if we went 2nd lick that we learned into the 1st lick we learned. Okay. Sounds kind of cool, right? So obviously a million different options with just those 2 licks, and I really love doing this, taking a lick and seeing how many possible options you know, we can get out of it. I'd rather know 10 licks and know, say, 100 different ways to use them than know like 100 licks and only like be able to throw them in kind of when the moment's right and kind of the stars align and everything. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm sure you guys have been in that position. I really like to learn licks in a way that I know them inside and out. You can, you know, like I was showing you just with these simple licks, you know, going down, going up, skipping some tones, you know, doing the little minor third to major third with them. I think it gives you a much better, you know, it gives you way more confidence with the actual lick and gives you the ability to use it anywhere again instead of kind of, you know, the licks where the stars kind of align and you can magically throw it in all of a sudden. Again, I love super long licks like that, but I think sometimes just these tiny little fragments of ideas that you can use all over the fretboard are just awesome and you can throw them in quickly and efficiently. And also, you know, I know I've shown you guys these basically at just the D and the B and then the D and the G strings. If you want to transpose these and move them around, you know, the same idea will still apply. So like right here, we had a B and a D. So just look for a B and a D on the next set of strings. So let's say up here, and just follow the notes down. That can kind of be your guys' homework if you so desire to take this to the other sets of strings. Just look for the same notes. The shapes might change a little bit, obviously based on the way the guitar is tuned, but yeah, you should have no problem finding the rest of those shapes if you want to move them to other sets of strings. So at any rate, I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson, enjoyed these couple of blues kind of / gospel licks. These are just some great ways to kind of navigate the fretboard and get some cool kind of chromatic sounds, I guess. So yeah, thanks for checking out the lesson once again. Next week I will be back here with the next part of the Beautiful Chord series. So yeah, have a great week everyone, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much.